What's up, Shackhousers? How y'all doing? Cy Shackelford here. About to give you the latest rundown on What If, episode number 8. Hope your week went well. Mine went well, especially today. It's the end of the fucking fiscal year. Thank God for that. Now the fiscal year has come to a close. But anyway, this week's episode of What If Ultron won? It's kind of a sequel to last week's ending scene from episode number 7, where Ultron and a bunch of drones came to Earth, and Ultron had all the Infinity Stones on him, and when he took off his mask, it was revealed to be the Vision underneath, right? So, we're about to get into what happened this week. The episode starts off with the Watcher saying that of all the realities that have been on the brink of destruction, the one he's about to look at breaks his heart the most. First off, we see Hawkeye, voiced by Jeremy Renner, and the Black Widow, voiced by Lake Bell, fighting in some post-apocalyptic city against some robotic drones, the same Ultron drones we saw in the end of last week's episode. Natasha, she evades him on her motorcycle, while Hawkeye uses multiple arrows with like multiple different effects, and it seems like he has like a unlimited supply of arrows. It's like he put a Game Genie cheat code in himself in order to give himself that unlimited supply of arrows so he can do whatever. He also has got a bionic arm, a bionic left arm, right? And at least that's the only bionic part of him, because he also has cloaking technology so he can make himself invisible and take the fight to the drones head on. And I say at least part of him must be cyborg, because he fights a drone and survives like a multiple story fall off an abandoned building, right? Yeah, that cyborg technology's made him pretty tough. It's also worth noting that the drones, they're a hive mind, a collective consciousness, right? And what Hawkeye and the Black Widow, what they were looking for are a key to defeat the drones, right? So where they are, the post-apocalyptic city that they're in right now is actually Moscow. And they're looking for answers in the abandoned and dilapidated St. Basil Cathedral, right? Yeah, they're looking in St. Basil's Cathedral because they think the key to defeating Ultron and his drones might be in there. Hawkeye views this with skepticism, to which Natasha quips, "It's Russia, Hawkeye. Secrets were our national pastime." Anyway, the point of divergence of this what-if reality is actually the 2015 film Avengers, Age of Ultron. See, what happens there is Jarvis, he never gets uploaded into the Vision's body, right? Ultron does, and when he does, all hell breaks loose. Since he's powered by the Mind Stone, he thinks the only way that he can fulfill his purpose is the destruction of all life. You know, the Ultron views life as chaotic. In order to bring peace, he has to silence all life. And he launches nuclear missiles all over the world. The Avengers try to stop him. Tony Stark dies trying to stop him, talking about, "I invented you for peace." Ultron ain't having that. He destroys much of Earth, at which point Thanos arrives at what's left at the remains of Stark Tower in New York, right? He arrives there with 5 out of 6 of the Infinity Stones. Ultron looks at him as like, "Fascinating," and makes short work out of him instantly, and takes the remaining 5 stones off the gauntlet and incorporates them into himself, becoming a godlike artificial intelligence. So he forms his usual Ultron armor around himself. Up until then, he's pretty much the Vision in the Vision's body, red, but with Ultron's voice, like a pseudo James Spader voice, right? After creating the Ultron armor for himself, he animates drones out of thin air. With all 6 of the Infinity Stones, he can pretty much do anything now, right? And with those drones, he brings his destruction to every world, every dimension in his universe. I'm talking about Asgard, Sovereign, Sakaar, Ego, and Xandar, where the Nova Corps is. Yeah, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Grandmaster, they look on right as they're about to be destroyed by Ultron's destruction campaign. On Xandar, though, that's where that bitch Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, she comes in and flings a pop culture reference at him to start things off. This time it was Skynet. Last week with Thor, it was Whitesnake. And she fights Ultron, plunges him down to the planet's molten core, right? But Ultron, he's too powerful for Miss Marvel, so he explodes and destroys all the planets in that solar system, right? Being by himself, he's fulfilled his purpose. He's fulfilled his mission. But with all that godlike power, he sensed something beyond his universe. He sensed the Watcher observing him. And the Watcher figures that out, so he's now scared shitless that the Infinity Stone-powered Ultron can break his fourth wall. Break his fourth wall, so to speak. And he's right about that. But he believes there's one last hope for this universe. Back in St. Basil's Cathedral, Clint and Natasha, they're searching the KGB archives, and from a long shot, it looks like the ending of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they got that warehouse full of boxes that read "Top Secret, Do Not Open." Yeah, so there's a bunch of that kind of shit up in there. So Clint and Natasha, they spend days going through every archive, every row, right? Endlessly going through files. And the Watcher, he knows what they're looking for, and he could point it out to them, except he's got his little oath of non-interference. His desperation and his fear of Ultron is rather funny. Jeffrey Wright, he made Uatu really funny in this episode. Yeah, Clint, he's ready to give up. But what they're looking for is an AI program, an artificial intelligence program that can counter Ultron, right? But they seek and they find, or rather, Natasha seeks and she finds, right? She finds, get this, Arnim Zola. They find it, and Uatu observing, the Watcher observing, he's happy as hell. Until Ultron finds him. Yeah. Ultron finds him and basks in the multiverse right before he decides to attack Uatu. So Clint, back on Earth, on this alternate Earth, Clint and Natasha, they head to Siberia, where Arnim Zola's AI is located in one of those computers. Zola, he's activated, and he only agrees to help after Hawkeye threatens to like douse all the technology in there with gasoline and set him on fire. The plan is to... Here's the thing, Hawkeye, one of his arrows is actually a flash drive, right? So he puts it in the computer in order to upload Arnim Zola's artificial intelligence personality program packet up in there, right? And then he plans to fire that arrow into one of those Ultron Sentry drones in order to upload Zola up into it so he can have a mobile body. And they call Ultron... Yeah, Natasha, she prank calls Ultron with a pizza delivery prank phone call in order to get him to send some drones after them. Less than 2 minutes, there they are. But then they put gasoline on everything in there and decide to burn the whole place in order to throw the drones off. Yeah, once the drones get there, though, yeah, they make sure to fire the arrow at one of them so they can upload Arnim Zola into the drone's body. That once that's accomplished, Natasha, she shoots off the drone's legs in order to ensure that Zola remains compliant. Zola, he tries to affect the hive mind, but it's out of range, i.e., out of this universe. So they now try to escape the drones by going up like some circular pattern and whatnot. And it looks like it resembles the pit from The Dark Knight Rises, where Bruce Wayne was stuck for several months and made several attempts to get out of. But Hawkeye, he makes the ultimate sacrifice, holding on to Natasha. He basically forces her to let him go, so that he can destroy the drones and give Natasha and Arnim Zola a chance to escape. But back in the multiverse, the Ultron is just kicking Uatu's ass all throughout the multiverse, all across several alternate Earths. And all the while, Ultron is chiding the Uatu for just observing and not doing anything. But Uatu, he gets to show off how powerful he is as a Watcher. He energizes up and goes toe-to-toe with Ultron, but Ultron got them Infinity Stones, so he's way more powerful. At one point, Ultron, he even enlarges himself to universal size and bites down on the divergent universe that he just knocked Uatu into. That was a hell of a scene right there. And once he bit down on that, Uatu lands in an alternate Earth, in an alternate New York City, where in Times Square, in the video in Times Square, we see Steve Rogers himself being sworn in as the U.S. president. So Ultron, he pummels the Watcher some more and is about to drain him off of all of his energy. But then Uatu musters up some strength and he escapes. But Ultron's like, it doesn't matter where you go, where you hide, or if you watch. The multiverse is now at my fingertips. And the final scene is Uatu. He managed to escape into the same dimension that we saw at the end of episode 4, where Doctor Strange, that variant version of Doctor Strange now resides. Yeah, Doctor Strange, and he's again voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. He's amused that Uatu is out of options now, right? And he kind of relishes that the Watcher is now forced to break his oath, that he's forced to act. And so it ends with the Watcher asking for Doctor Strange's help. This was the best episode I've seen. Yeah, I think this is better than the episode where Hank Pym, he kills all the Avengers. Yeah, man, it's a 2-parter. Well, technically a 3-parter if you count the end of episode 7. Yeah, they're gonna continue this next week as well too. Here's some thoughts. The fact that the drones were all a hive collective mind with Ultron, that's a nod to the Annihilation storyline, where Ultron pretty much acted like the Phalanx Covenant, the Phalanx from the X-Men, like directing all the activities of the drones in order to ensure compliance with the collective's directives. Tony Stark, he died in this reality too. He also died in the reality where Killmonger saved him. I'm beginning to think that Tony Stark's death, which also happened in the proper MCU, that's an ultimate point in the multiverse. It always has to happen, just like Christine Palmer's death. And Thanos, when he arrived on Earth, the first thing that Ultron did was just slice that dude in half. That's what I mean by make short work of him. And that's ironic considering Thanos, he wanted to snap his finger so that half the universe would disappear. And Vision and the Ultron, their origins, I think the Vision was created out of Ultron, I believe, but in another equal but separate reality, he was also created from the remains of the original Human Torch. Yeah. So in this reality, with Ultron inhabiting the Vision's body, it kind of becomes the inverse of that. And it's funny how Natasha, she felt a need to point out that Arnim Zola, he's analog, not digital, and therefore a perfect counterpoint to Ultron's digital AI. What else? Back in the KGB archives, one of the things that Natasha finds is the Red Guardian shield. And in one of her last scenes in this episode, she even does the whole... I didn't even do that right. I look stupid when I did that. The whole Black Widow pose, that, and both of those are a reference to the Black Widow movie that came out months earlier. And Hawkeye, him sacrificing himself, letting himself go, that's the reverse of what happened in Avengers Endgame when him and Natasha were forced to go look for the Soul Stone. Natasha sacrificed herself, but this time, Hawkeye, he sacrificed himself. I gotta tell you, I cannot wait for next week's episode. If Marvel keeps this up, they could probably finally have like one up on DC in the animation department. They should do more stuff like this. Like I said, I can't wait for next week's episode. And I hope you can't too, fellow Shackhousers. Subscribe below. I will see you next week. Peace.